Thank you so much, Ajay, for joining us, and to all our listeners, welcome to CFOs Not Talking Finance, the podcast where we try to go beyond the numbers to meet the minds shaping today's business world. So, if you're a fan of real stories, honest leadership insights, and conversations that don't sound like boardroom bullet points, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoy what you hear, please leave us a rating or share it with a colleague. Today's guest is someone who brings ambition and humility in equal measure. Ajay Goyal is the global CFO of IGT Solutions and previously also served as CFO of Infosys Consulting. He is also a Business World 40 Under 40 finance leader, a teacher at heart, a student of the stock market, and someone who believes in impact over ego. So, in this episode, we'll talk about what it means to take risks, build teams that win, seek wisdom from mentors, and also, while staying grounded, while leading global finance. So, Ajay, again, thanks for being on our show. From cricket pitches to corporate boardrooms, you really have built a leadership journey that you yourself said has been defined by risk taking, people empowerment, and thoughtful impact. So, since you're a cricket fan and a stock market enthusiast and a global CFO to boot, what is something cricket or investing has probably taught you about leading a team?
Thanks, Chitra. Thanks for having me here. Right. So I think the only thing which I have learned is to stay humble. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think I'll just take a step back. Right. So I think all of us will remember the last IPL season. Right.
Mhm.
So what happened to Hardik Pandya? Right. Means he was leading Mumbai Indians, and there was a lot of agony among his fans across the board. Right. And he was just getting bashing everywhere. And then comes the World Cup, right, where he made India one, right, and how the things changed, right. And same is the stock market, right. So one day you can make a good money, but at the same time the stock market can show your place if you go very aggressive and thinking you are a king, right. So the only thing which I have learned is that stay humble, be a student, and try to learn every day. That's it.
Wonderful. I think that's a lovely opener that kind of somehow ties your hobbies to your leadership tone as well. And what you've said, multiple times is every day is a new day. So how do you approach each morning or each new day as a leader managing global responsibilities?
Yeah, so I think I start my day, Chitra, in my previous evening, right? So if I have to start for tomorrow, I start with the evening. I go with my calendar, right? Means what is coming up in the next day, right? What are the key things which need to be done? What are the key meetings? And then how they are helping me to achieve, right? Whatever my quarterly stuff, monthly stuff, and stuff like that, right? So means personally, I do a lot of stuff on preparation, right? Means uh, to answer your question, right, means yeah. So the day starts in the evening, and in the morning, right, it's more about, right, means just getting out and start delivering.
Got it. So it's just from the get-go, your previous day itself, you start putting your mind in the right mindset so that you can take the next day as it comes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. You've also mentioned that you enjoy teaching. So how has being a teacher, whether formally or informally, shaped the way you lead at work?
Yeah, so this is interesting, right? So I started the teaching thing when I was in school, right? After my 12th standard, I started teaching students. Those days, it was a financial need for me, right, to teach students, right? But over a period of time, I realized that means I enjoy this, right? Now, today at my work, right, at least for I used to run a course called Finance for Non-Finance Managers at Infosys.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah, I think I personally taught at least 25,000 managers, and it became a flagship program for us, right? So wherever when you become a manager, so they come and we tell them about, right, means what a finance, so on and so forth. Apart from that, I run something called as a learning concept, right, in my team,
Mhm.
where every Friday we go and we talk anything but not work, right? And whatever you have learned, right, or if whatever extra thing which you have delivered in a week's time or past 2 weeks, the team comes and they share their experiences, right? it can be anything, right? It can be, right, means how to plan for the meetings, right?
Mhm.
How you can be effective, the conflict management, right? So uh, this is the way which we do. Okay. And I, what I enjoy about this is that you start knowing people, right, with whom you are working, what are their thoughts, what they do outside work, etc., and all.
And I think what you said, every Friday you try to not talk about work. That's, a good thing, similar to the theme of this podcast as well, where we don't like to talk shop, we like to talk about the other aspects. So do you feel like this also doubles up as a bonding session with your team?
Of course, absolutely, absolutely right. So yesterday, means I was doing this in Infosys Consulting, and recently I joined IGT Solutions. This is my second month here. So we did our first session yesterday, right? So team feel are very highly energized, right? And then this is something out of the work, right? Which is not kind of a means a daily stuff which you are doing, right, for work,
Hmm.
right? We talk, we do kind of a small quiz at the end of the session, right? Whatever means where people compete with each other, right? So it brings a lot of energy in the team, and like you mentioned, right, it brings a lot of bonding in the team, right, where people see the other side of individual, right, which is not on the work side, right? Means what are their interests, what are their hobbies, means how they crack the jokes, how they manage a tough situation and stuff like that.
Correct, correct. And in fact, one thing that you mentioned before, IGT, you were CFO of Infosys Consulting. That was quite a major pivot. So when that opportunity came through, what was going through your mind? How did you, prepare to take it up?
So that's interesting, Chitra, again, right? So I was in Japan. So I was the CFO of, there's a joint venture between Infosys and Hitachi. It is called Hypers. Okay, and suddenly a very high brand lady who was the CFO, she quit Infosys,
Mhm.
and she was two levels senior to me. Okay, and I was aspiring for that role, and I just throw my hat. The downside for me was that means I can be said no only, and nothing beyond that. So I reached to my bosses, that means can I be considered for this role, knowing
Mhm.
that probability of happening that is very less. Okay. But they put a bet on me, right? Yeah, okay, we'll give you a chance. And so there are two things. One, I have to relocate from Japan to US for that role. So means I have a family, right, and I have three kids, right? So
Mhm.
moving across continents with family is always a challenge.
Correct.
So we take that punt, and Infosys Consulting is a business of Infosys, which is primarily driven by white people, right? It is not kind of
Mhm.
a per se typical Infosys business, right, where you run everything from offshore, right? So it was quite a challenging role. Now, in order to prepare for that, what I did was, one, the day I took the role, I started interacting a lot with the leaders who are the key people in the organization, building up a trust, right, and just giving them not feeling, right, but ensuring that they should start realizing I'm on their side, right, and
Mhm.
I'm helping them to build up a business, and not kind of a typical finance guy who is always saying no, you cannot do this, or you don't have budget, or this, that, etc., and all that. So that helped us a lot, right?
Wonderful. And I think, what you're also saying, it follows the same theme of you're only as good as your team. And I think that's something that you also keep mentioning. So, how is it that you are able to spot or nurture and empower the right people around you? Do you have any particular mantras for that?
Yeah, so very basics, right? Try to stick with the fundamentals, right? So one, trust your colleagues, right?
Mm.
Don't try to bring unnecessary bureaucracy, right? Give them their playground, right? Always encourage them to make mistakes, but at the same time, just ensure they are not repeating the mistakes, right? And yeah, just take care of them, right? Just you should know, as a manager or as a leader, you know, right, what are the milestones your team is achieving, you a particular individual is achieving, right? Means say at what point of career he is. He say if he's a fresher, right, he is just a fresher, he will ensure that he is learning, right? He's getting all the challenging tasks where he can go learn and contribute. If he's in the middle path of his or her career, right, what are not only the goals on the official side but on the personal side as well, right? Are you giving them ample opportunities, right? Whether someone wants to go to on-site, want to get overseas experience,
Mm.
right? They are getting enough visibility, uh, throwing them in front of leaders, right? We can improve their visibility, always backing their team. And the most important thing, right? All the appreciation goes to the team, and you should always stand up in order to take the blame for if any mess happens.
I think that is also about where you say, you're trusting your employees, but at the same time, you are taking a lot of ownership for, your tasks. So, again, when we talk about ownership, I think your philosophy also includes taking risks and thinking big, right? So, what's one moment when that mindset really paid off, and one moment where it probably didn't?
I'll be very honest, right? So I have not realized where it has not paid for me. Okay. And I'm kind of a person, right? Who don't do a very detailed calculation. If I need to take a decision, I go just what I feel principally or broadly it looks right for me. And the my last stint with Infosys was my second stint. I took a break from Infosys and I joined a company called Tessol Semiconductors. I was there for 1 year, and
Mhm.
I mean, I was having a very good time there, right? And I got call from my managers that, hey, we have acquired one company in Japan, and we want to use your previous experience. Would you like to
Mhm.
come back to us? And whatever differences we used to have, we can iron out. I took a call that okay, let's go back to Japan, right? And again, going back to your company, to the previous company which you have left 1 year back, it come with a lot of means you can always think of, right? I mean, there are a lot of
Correct.
discussions which happen around you and all that. Why this guy's come back, so on and so on.
Hmm.
But just keeping aside all these conversations, we took a call that we'll go to back to Japan. We went there, we did well. The joint venture which I was running between Infosys and Hitachi, that is one of the most successful asset we had. From Japan to US as a role of Infosys Consulting, it paid very well, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Not for me, right? Means I could bring a lot of value add to the organization,
Correct. Mhm.
to the firm, right? Means the goodwill and that respect which the firm was getting when I came and when I left, it tremendously increased. And the last which I have taken, right, means that moving from US back to India,
Yeah.
right, as a part of IGT solutions, right. So taking a global CFO role, moving from a very mature, respectable organization like Infosys to a
Mhm.
smaller organization, IGT. In
Yeah.
in fact, IGT is also a very highly respectable organization, but not apple to apple, right? Very small
Right.
compared to
In
what
terms of
Infosys is
scale,
making.
there is definitely a big difference.
Yeah, scale, processes, everything. But again, we took a risk, and we feel that means, of course, it should pay off sometime.
Mhm. Wonderful. And anytime that, you had to take such big decisions, Infosys to IGT and moving back to Japan, going back to a company that you've already left a year ago. So while facing these big decisions, did you ever turn to any mentors? Can you, and, probably share a moment where a particular mentor's advice maybe changed your path or influenced your decision?
I'll not say mentor per se, but I think I have been fortunate, right? My better half, my wife, right? So I think she has always been supporter of me,
Mhm.
right? Uh, so because these are the family decisions, right? So because you
Yes.
have kids, and my elder daughter now she's in high school, right? So
Mhm.
it got an impact on your kids also, right? I think she has been very supportive and always standing beside me, right? Means whatever you want to do, and which you feel is good, right? Means we will support you. I think that gives you a lot of strength and means a lot of courage to take this bold decisions, right? From mentors, I have few guys, right? Means whom I have worked, right? I always reach them, and again, I have been fortunate enough, right? So they have a special love and affection for me. They take out some time for me, and then they tell what is right, what is wrong, and they essentially tell me what is right, not what I want to listen, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes they give us a critical feedback as well, right? Means what can go wrong, etc. and all.
Got it. And that's, of course, very, very close to you. You mentioned your better half and you mentioned certain mentors. But you've also mentioned that the Prime Minister of India is someone who you look up to as an inspiration. So, is there anything specific about, I mean, we all know his larger journey, but is there anything specific about his philosophy that maybe resonates with you?
I'll say the commitment and hard work, right? Means the sense of commitment, the way he works, he perceives things, and the larger objective he always has in his mind, right? Means he wants to just to make India grow, to reach the last man in the line, right? Where he can do something good for that last man. Means whether in terms of providing better education, better health facility, anything, right? And the way he thinks about his country, right? So I think I get motivated with him. I have done my own research, a lot of research on him, where
Mm-hmm.
I keep following him, right? Means what he's doing, what are the things on his plate, so on and so forth.
Wonderful. And final reflections. If you had to go back and mentor your 25-year-old self today, what is one advice you would give your 25-year-old self? And in a way that's something that you wish you knew earlier.
Okay, let me put this way, right? So I'm in 40s now, right? So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about say 2010, and the what the environment today you have, it's completely different, right?
Mm-hmm.
uh, Today is a range of scenario or economics, right? So where $1 billion can be created in just flash of second if you have a good idea or something like that, right? Maybe I'll be slightly more bolder in terms of taking decision towards
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship, right?
Okay.
Rather than going into full-time employment.
Yes, got it, got it. Interesting. Thank you so much, Ajay. I think we've had a very, powerful conversation with you. You've constantly reminded us that impact comes from thinking big, taking risks, and luckily, touchwood in your case, you've said it's always paid off. But another thing that you mentioned, which is really stuck with us, is the fact that you've said stay humble. You're saying stay grounded, and always invest in your team and your people. So I think this was a wonderful conversation and we learned a lot. I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks, Chitra. It was wonderful talking to you. All the
Mhm.
best.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.